Imagine this, it's the late 19th century in Sudan. A vast, arid land under the thumb of foreign rule. Discontent is simmering, a pot about to boil over. This is the stage for one of the most dramatic anti-colonial uprisings in modern history, the Mahdist War. So, who were the main players? On one side, you had the Egyptian Khedivate, which controlled Sudan. But pulling the strings behind the scenes was the mighty British Empire, with its own strategic interests in the region, especially the Suez Canal. The Egyptian administration was seen as corrupt, oppressive, and, worst of all, un-Islamic by many Sudanese. Taxes were crippling, and local traditions were being ignored. The people were desperate for a savior, and a savior they found. Enter Muhammad Ahmad, a devout and charismatic Islamic scholar. In 1881, he made a bold declaration. He was the Mahdi, the prophesied redeemer of Islam, sent to purify the faith and drive out the invaders. This wasn't just a political rebellion, it was a holy war, a jihad. His followers, known as the Ansar, or helpers, flocked to his banner, armed with little more than spears, swords, and an unshakable faith. At first, the Egyptians and their British advisors laughed it off. How could a bunch of poorly armed tribesmen challenge a modern, organized army? They were about to find out. The Mahdists' first major victory came in 1883 at the Battle of El Obeid, where they annihilated an Egyptian force led by a British officer, William Hicks. This victory was a massive shock. The Mahdi's forces captured thousands of modern rifles, ammunition, and cannons, instantly transforming them from a ragtag militia into a formidable army. The news sent panic through Cairo and London. The British government, led by Prime Minister William Gladstone, was reluctant to get bogged down in a colonial war. Their decision: evacuate the Egyptian and European personnel from Sudan. And who did they send to manage this impossible task? The one and only General Charles Gordon, a celebrated but famously headstrong military hero. Gordon arrived in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, in early 1884. His mission was to evacuate, but Gordon had other ideas. He was determined to hold the city against the Mahdi. It was a fatal miscalculation. The Mahdist forces, tens of thousands strong, soon surrounded Khartoum, cutting it off from the outside world. For 10 long months, Gordon and his small garrison held out, hoping for a relief force that was slow to come. Back in Britain, public pressure mounted to save the national hero. A relief expedition was finally dispatched, but it was too little, too late. In January 1885, just 2 days before the British relief boats hove into view, the Mahdist army breached Khartoum's defenses. The city fell, and General Gordon was killed in the fighting. His death sent shockwaves across the British Empire and turned him into a martyr. The Mahdi himself didn't live long to savor his victory. He died of disease just 6 months after the fall of Khartoum. But his dream of an independent Sudanese state lived on. His successor, the Khalifa Abdullahi, established the Mahdist state, which ruled over Sudan for the next 13 years. It was a unique, homegrown Islamic state, a rare example of a successful African resistance movement holding off European power. But the British Empire had a long memory and a score to settle. By the late 1890s, the scramble for Africa was in full swing, and Britain was determined to reconquer Sudan. This time, they weren't taking any chances. General Herbert Kitchener led a massive, technologically superior Anglo-Egyptian army south along the Nile, building a railway as they went to ensure supplies. The final, brutal showdown came in 1898 at the Battle of Omdurman, just outside the Mahdist capital. It was a horrifyingly one-sided affair. The Mahdist army, charging with incredible bravery, was mowed down by British Maxim machine guns and artillery. It was a clash between two eras, the courage of the Ansar versus the cold, industrial killing power of a modern army. Tens of thousands of Mahdists were killed, while Anglo-Egyptian losses were in the dozens. The battle marked the end of the Mahdist state and the beginning of 50 years of British rule in Sudan. The Mahdist War is a powerful story of faith, rebellion, and the brutal collision of empires. It shows how a charismatic leader could mobilize a people against overwhelming odds and create a nation, even if only for a short time. It remains a crucial chapter in the history of Sudan and a stark reminder of the human cost of colonialism. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of history fascinating, be sure to like, subscribe, And hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. See you next time.